If you could just kind of take a couple minutes, introduce yourself, maybe some background, why you're running, and then we'll get into questions after that.
Okay. My name is Rhoney. I've been the town of Rutland supervisor now for a little over a year. I started there in 2005 as a councilman. 2006 I won a 4-year term, and a little later on that year I was appointed as deputy supervisor. In September I was appointed as the supervisor after Chad McHenry resigned to take another job down in North Carolina. In October of 2006, about a month later, the town ran out of money. We didn't have any money to pay our bills. We had to wait till the water bills came in before we could pay the bills. And as I was talking to the accountants, it was evident that our ledger didn't match up with our bank accounts. The ledger said we had plenty of money in the bank, but the bank accounts proved otherwise. So shortly after that, the state came in and they did their investigation, and they were there for about 6 months. They camped out there, and they said our problems had started quite a while ago, and we had these water lines that were installed in 1989. The town wanted to have water lines installed all throughout Rutland. Well, the water line was a 40-year project that was condensed to about 17 years, but the expenses quickly went past our revenue, but nobody ever told the residents that we were having these revenue problems. So in order to kind of hide the true cost of the revenue, true cost of the expense for the residents, what they did was supervisors of past used the fund balances, and then when the fund balances ran out, they used money for capital projects. So found out we were in debt to the tune of a little over $1 million in royalties, so there was only one way to fix it. And our accountant suggested that when I build a budget, I build it with 0 fund balances throughout the budget. He said, assuming you don't have any money, assuming you have no fund balances, because you probably don't have any. He couldn't tell us what we had, because he said all he does was, he just looks at the figures we give them and adds them together, and doesn't check with the bank to do that. So that's what I did. I assumed that we had no fund balances. I built the budget. It resulted in a 33% increase for the town of Rutland residents. And we needed like $646,000 plus $359,000 to pay back capital projects. So it worked out very well doing it that way. This year we came in at 2%. The board just got done last night. It'll be about 1%. They cut a few things from it, but it's a very good budget. We've got some fund balances now. We were able to beef up some of the like the garbage, for instance. There we were able to borrow $20,000 towards that. So instead of $425,000, we need $405,000 from the residents to do our garbage pickups. And the town's back on track. It's financially stable. We've had a good year. We've got more than $300,000 in grants from state and federal grants. Got the gas water revitalization plan. Got the Rutland master plan that's about ready to take off and awarded at Wendell this year. We had the Village of Middleport. We worked with the Village of Middleport to get them a grant, $50,000 panel grant, so that they can hopefully attract more tourism to the Village of Middleport there. We also started the senior lunch project in Walkersville. The seniors, instead of it's like a Meals on Wheels things, except they pick the seniors up and bring them over to the church, or they come over themselves. They can have a meal, talk to people, play cards, and get out of the community and be active rather than sitting at home. Then we also got a generator after the October storm last year. I asked Mike Cole for money for a generator. If there was money, he did. He came through with $10,000 for the money for the generator, so that we can plan for a disaster. Again, we didn't have any power really at the town hall. We had enough to keep the cell phone working. That's about it. The town garage had one that they hook up to a tractor so that they can pump gasoline and just some minor things. But this way, we can have a command center now at the town hall. All 5 companies and fire companies, I met with them on Monday night, all the chiefs. And we now have, we exchange cell phone information, email information. If somebody wants to know what's happening in the town now, rather than calling the Walkersville Fire Department and getting their virtual now, everybody will have somebody represented at the town hall, and we'll disperse the information from there so everybody gets the same information. We can talk to the utility companies, we can talk to the fire companies, our town crews, everybody will be there. And it'll make it was very efficient this time, but now it will make it more efficient. was a bigger disaster.
Sure. So the 33% increase got you guys back on track, and that's what helps to build up the fund balance and things like that.
That helped, and also I budgeted for $1.2 million. Chad told me when he left, he said it's almost done. We got $1.2 million back from the county and sales tax.
Okay.
He said it's always been a good number. I budgeted for that, but with the economy the way it was, we got $327,000 back, or $327 more. So instead of 1.2, we got another $127,000. So that helped the fund balances. The other thing that helped the fund balances, and some of them actually did have money left in them. So money that we assess to taxpayers is there, like in the garbage fund. We got about $130,000. So this year we used $20,000 to offset the cost. Next year we'll use another $20,000 until we get that down to just 10% of what the garbage fund is, which would be about $50,000. The state comptroller's office said that 10% is probably a good number for fund balances for us. And then when our attorney went to New York City for the Association of Towns, I asked him to check and see if he could refinance our water lines. We've got about $7 million in water lines throughout the town. So he did, and he can refinance most of our water lines. Some are locked in at the interest rate. There's no prepayment there. And the ones that aren't locked in, he can refinance them, and he can save the taxpayers about $600,000 over the life of these loans. But then also, we don't get much money from our interest. We put $3 million in the bank. And we're really a pretty small customer, but we don't get a whole lot of money. We've got our checking accounts don't get much money. So I solicited HSBC because they had our money. Bank of Akron, they've helped us out with BANs when nobody else would give us a good rate to finance some of our equipment. And also M&T. And M&T gave us a great proposal. And their proposal was about $42,000 as an interest, which is thousands more than what we're getting right now. Plus they would give us a check reader, so when people pay by check for whatever reason, put in a check reader and it's in the bank just like that, so we're getting our interest on it immediately.
Did that proposal go through?
Unfortunately, the board took offense to the fact that I wanted to move it to M&T Bank rather than HSBC. They said HSBC was a local bank and we should keep it there, but when I have to make a decision, I have to make a decision for what's best in the best interest of the town. So they took M&T's proposal. I made it a public meeting because that was what I had heard of once already, and M&T was just far above everybody else. So they took M&T's proposal, brought it over to HSBC, gave it to Trudy Stahl at HSBC, and then they gave it to Courtney Schaefer, who's the vice president, and it asked her to come and do a presentation the following week. So her presentation was just like M&T's, but we haven't seen that implemented yet, so I don't know what's going to happen.
So the thought is that HSBC might match what M&T's offering, possibly, or?
Well, Trudy Stahl doesn't talk to me anymore. We were at 3 different committees together.
Yeah.
She's resigned from them because I did that, but you know, if I worry about that, then I can't get the best interest for it. And they had our money. They've had our money for years and years. There, so they certainly have had an opportunity, even without me asking. I asked them back in September, and their Courtney Schaefer's idea was to just fire our tax collector for the board. Fire the tax collector, save $6,000. Well, I couldn't see where that was going to help because she said the town clerk could take over the duties there. Well, she's not going to do it for free.